Also new this morning across the state, the SAFER Act officially passing through the state Senate last night. That's a bill that will increase firearm safety in the state without infringing on the rights of gun owners. Democratic senators had been working on amendments to their version of the bill for several days before it was brought back up for a vote yesterday. The legislation focuses on common sense policies to reduce gun crimes and gun-related injuries across the state and updates Massachusetts laws to provide law enforcement agencies with the necessary support to tackle today's concerns relating to gun violence prevention. Now, some new policies that this bill includes are an ensured accountability and oversight to those who own and possess untraceable parts of a ghost gun. It is now illegal to possess devices that make semi-automatic guns automatic. State police will conduct annual inspections of gun dealers. Healthcare professionals will now be allowed to petition courts to remove guns and licenses from any patients who pose a risk to themselves or others. And those with a gun license will now have access to certain information about an applicant's mental health history.